Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Tango Banter. I am your host, Yelizaveta, and I want to remind you that time is ticking, and what is approaching is the LA Summer Tango Marathon. There's just a few weeks left, and if you are still on the fence about coming to this event, I think I might know what that fence is. A lot of times these days, we are afraid that there's not going to be people to dance with if we commit to a whole weekend at a marathon. The gender balance has been an issue in the tango community for some time, as is expressed by all the incentives that you see festivals and marathons put out on social media to try to encourage more leaders to register. However, the issue remains. Now, I know that my perspective is a little biased, but I gotta say, I'm very proud of my community here in Los Angeles. And one of the things that makes us in LA very special as a community is that we have a really high number of amazing dual role dancers. I am proud that I have been contributing to this particular goal for some time now. I host my weekly Chicas del Tango Practica on Tuesday nights, and for the past year and a half, I've been training women in the community to lead. And not to toot my own horn, but I gotta say, there are now really good leaders here on the dance floor because of this work, and you will get to experience these dancers at the LA Tango Marathon. So do not fret if you think that you might be sitting it out and not getting enough dances. I personally want to assure you that I think you will have a really good time, because not only do we have great leaders in the community, we also have great dual role dancers who lead and follow, and who are really, really interested in connecting with new dancers. So I hope that convinces you to check out the event. Go to the link in the show notes and see what else you need to know to go ahead and register. And when you register, make sure you type in the code LA Meow 23. That is LAMEOW 23, because I love cats. And you will get a free t-shirt. So you'll put that code into the message box on the page when you register, and there will be a free t-shirt waiting for you. Now, today's topic is all about attraction. I posted this question a little while ago inside my private group, and there were some really great answers. The question was, what do you find attractive in a dancer? And of course, there are so many ways to describe the attractive qualities, and there was a variety of answers for people. Some people really talked about more ephemeral qualities, such as kindness or confidence, or even musicality, which is something that is in the eye of the beholder. Things like that are very much part of the insider knowledge in tango. But then other people pointed out that they really appreciate more external, more visible features, such as nice outfits or nice suits, cologne or good perfume, overall presentation. So there's a whole range of things that we could say about attraction. But the thing that I wanted to banter about in this particular episode has to do more with the insight that I came upon over time that I've been dancing, that what we're attracted to is actually a reflection of who we are and where we're at in our personal journey and our development in our lives. And if you experiment with seeing it as such, then there are some interesting observations we can make about ourselves as dancers and the types of evolutionary steps that we go through. So before I describe my own exploration of attraction, which for me, what I was attracted to at the beginning really changed as I progressed. And now, in some ways, when I look back at what I was attracted to at the very start of my journey, I am actually repulsed by it now. And some of you who've been around for a long time might actually have parallel examples of this in your own experience. But one thing I've observed about us and the discussion of attraction is that sometimes we have a bit of judgment about it. Now, the judgment can either be self-judgment, meaning that I'm judging myself for being too picky. I shouldn't be repulsed by something because there's more to this person, and I'm somehow failing to be a good person if I base my decisions on that kind of preference. So we might have judgment on our preferences. And I hear a lot of this from women in particular who feel guilty that they have certain preferences, and they find that they want to get over it and get to a place where they're just okay with everything. And they can't. That's some examples of self-judgment. Now, we can also have judgment of other people's lack of qualities. So we might be aware of what we're attracted to, and we know what we like, and then we judge other people based on what they're lacking according to us. So we have this sense of judgment for the other person not having the qualities that we think they should have in order to be attractive to us. And that's also a tricky place to be, because we can't change other people, right? So I do notice we get lost in the judgment phase of attraction before we allow ourselves to actually just see what attraction teaches us about ourselves. When I'm thinking about being attracted to something versus something else, it's sort of a sense of finding out who I am at this moment. Oh, I am the kind of person who likes this versus that. That's as simple as it is. And because I'm aware of something I do like versus something I don't like, there will be things out there in the world representing what I like and what I don't like. And there are things out there that I don't like and I'm not attracted to. And my job is just to acknowledge that I'm either attracted to it or not. I don't need to judge myself for not being attracted to it. And I don't need to judge the other person for not having something that I want them to have. And that puts you in a different place. When it comes to tango, I think attraction plays a huge role in how we decide to dance with someone. But it also can be sort of a painful process or a painful place, because for some of us, we're really attracted to something, but we don't really think that we're going to get it or that we deserve to have it. So then the experience of being attracted is a reminder that we can't have something. Or we might be attracted to something, but something else is coming our way, and we feel guilty about saying no to this other thing that's coming. So we might not say no to it, and we might agree to a dance that we really don't care to have. But as we're dancing, we'll have this ongoing dialogue of like, I really am not enjoying myself, and I should be enjoying myself because this is a nice person, because I'm supposed to be better than this. Or in my experience, I've really heard this kind of dialogue or this line of thinking from women a lot. And I think it comes from some of the entrainment and some of the cultural standards of being a woman that we've inherited. Women tend to want to be the peacemakers and take care of everyone and make sure everybody else has what they need before they give something to themselves. So from that place, we're very unskilled with practicing openly being attracted to something and going for it. For men, perhaps there's a little bit of a different experience with attraction. I think men in general seem to be more comfortable with at least the idea of knowing that about themselves and knowing what they want ahead of time and choosing that. And so I think there is a little bit of a gender difference there that we do experience on a daily basis. And it's perhaps even strengthened by the leader-follower dynamic, meaning that leaders initiate and followers receive. So it's a big topic, and there's a lot of different side trails that we could go in. But I thought I would just share some of my experience with my own exploration of this topic and what it revealed to me about myself. And hopefully through hearing about my experience, it will give you some insights into yourself as well. When I first started, I've talked about this before, as I came into tango and I was very, very insecure. And I even came to tango because I was attracted to somebody and they were going to tango. And so I kind of tagged along. And at the time, I was really unsure of whether I was beautiful, whether I fit in, whether I was good enough to be accepted, whether people like me or not. So to me, anybody that I was attracted to, I was attracted to them as a feeling like, oh, could this person like me? I want that person to like me. I want to be next to them. I want to be around that person because that person's cool. And so with tango, anybody who was the flashy dancer, who had the flashiest moves, who had the flashiest outfit, those are the people that stood out to me. And especially if they were attractive and I could tell other women were sort of eyeing them and wanting their attention, that made it more attractive because it was a risk. Because I had that question, like, am I good enough to dance with somebody like that? And there were many nights that I spent hungering and salivating after certain dancers and not get them. And that pushed me to take certain steps in my dance to become more attractive to those dancers. So I changed the way I dressed. It took me some time, months, to develop a look and change my wardrobe. And of course, I was told, like many women, that if you want to get more dances, you just need to dress in a different way. You need to wear shorter skirts, you need to show more skin, you need to be sexier. So I did all of that so that I could attract those dancers. And it worked, it worked. I know that maybe it doesn't seem that surprising to you now, but to me, it was a surprise because I had such low self-esteem coming into tango. So anytime I went to Malanga, it was always about get to dance with the highest level of dancer. Who is the hottest dancer in the room? Who is the professional? Who is the visiting teacher? And anytime that I got to dance with somebody like that, it was a check mark on my mental list of like, okay, I'm good enough to dance with this person, I'm good enough to dance with that person. And eventually, I have to say, I got a lot of that. I really got to dance with some of the most amazing dancers of the highest level that I could imagine. And the ratings were in, and I was passing, and I was good to go. So I kind of got to this place where it wasn't as interesting anymore to go after those kinds of dancers. Or I should say, it wasn't as interesting to pursue them because of that reason. Along with some of the most amazing dances I've gotten, I also have gotten like really unimpressive dances when it comes to searching out these really high-end, fancy, good-looking dancers. There's been many times that I've had the sense that the higher the level of the dancer, the quote unquote hotter they are, the more they're really concerned with themselves and really interested in showing their skill and their prowess. And so to dance with them is sort of this wild roller coaster ride where I'm out to answer this question, can I survive this? Let's see, can I come out of this in one piece on the other end? Because they're very dynamic and very demanding. It's very hot, both sensually and physically to dance with them. It's very exciting because it's a lot of interesting movements and challenging dynamic musicality. And it's great, but I began to notice that I wasn't really there as a person. I was there as a fixture. I was there to make my partner look good. And as long as I was hitting all the marks, then my partner could do what they needed to do to look good. And as attractive as that was to me when I first started, it eventually phased into something else where I stopped being so attracted to that. The energy of that really high level professional dancer, a lot of times I now have this reaction like, oh, that just looks like so much work. Either it's just work to actually get a dance with them because they're sort of insulated by layers and layers of other dancers who want to dance with them. They have all this attention around them and all this spotlight. So to get through that, I look at it and go, oh, I'm just too tired for this. I don't care. I don't care to wear that short skirt. I don't care to make myself different so that I fit in. I don't care to adjust the way I dance so that they look good. It's more selfish now. Now I find myself in a very different place of what catches my eye when I go to the dance floor. And what I can say about my dance now is that I tend to want to find dancers who are a little bit more on my wave of just having fun. I really want to see people having fun. Now, of course, there's different kinds of fun. There's the kind of fun where they don't care about the dance floor and the line of dance, and they're in the middle of the room and they're throwing a bunch of boleos everywhere, and you can see them smiling and having a lot of fun. That's fun, but that's not the kind I'm talking about. I'm talking about more of the type of dancer who is obviously really in tune with the dance floor and is having fun with dancing with other people, understanding that excitement of being in a room full of people and dancing to the music, and that there's this feeling of jamming out, like musicians, when musicians get together and they're like, okay, let's just jam, let's do this, let's dive in, and it's less serious. So I like that quality of seeing people who are a little bit less serious, who are playful, who have some sort of a style. Typically, when I look out on the dance floor, I notice either people who are very conservative among people who move a lot. That always stands out to me. Also, people who just have a different approach. They're not necessarily doing the same things that everybody else is doing. They smile. That's sort of always an attractive quality to me, because most of the time I see people frowning. Even myself, I kind of work on that I love the idea of smiling while I'm dancing versus having this like angry scowl that is so tango a lot of times. So for me now, I don't necessarily pay attention as much to the dancers who are at the highest level or have the highest level of technique. It's a lot more about this more ephemeral quality that, will take some time for me to even define it for myself, which is confidence, right? Really seeing confidence, which in a way, a lot of that peacocking and the energy of showing off that I was so attracted to at first, I realized later down the line is that a lot of it is actually coming from insecurity on that person too, that they're seeking that spotlight and they're seeking attention actually because they also are insecure, because that's their place of validating themselves. And that's fascinating, right? That I was attracted to that because I had my own validation needs. And so the two kind of balanced each other out. But then it switched. My focus switched. So in terms of the day-to-day dancing, I switched from dancing with younger dancers, with older milongueros. I started appreciating more milonguero style embrace, where it's much closer, it's much more about intimacy, it's much more about having a conversation. And even in terms of dancing itself, I stopped being so attracted to the idea of dancing all the time, right? And I started being more attracted to the idea of sitting and chatting with people and getting to know others. When we think about our attraction as a mechanism for evaluating ourselves and where we're at internally, for me, it was obvious that when I first started, there was this hunger for external validation. And over time, it became this other hunger, which is to self-express, to connect with people and find a place of self-expression, of being myself and being who I really am as a dancer and expressing that on the dance floor, versus dancing in a way that seeks others' attention. And not to say that I don't feel that sometimes still. There are moments when I remember dancing in a room with professional dancers sitting around and me thinking like, oh, I wonder if they'll see me and think that I'm a good dancer. Will they notice me? Will they want to dance with me? Those things do pop up in my mind, but most of the time I'm just thinking, no, probably not. The reality is I do not stand out the way I wish I stood out sometimes, because it's just not me. And I'm much more okay with being myself these days. And because I'm more okay with being myself and I'm looking for opportunities to push myself into more levels of discomfort that have to do with being more yourself, right? Being ourselves is such a difficult thing for us to do sometimes. Then I'm attracted to other people who have the same qualities. And those qualities really stand out to me. So I look for those signs of confidence, of humility, of fun, of seeking some sort of connection with people. Those are the types of dancers that stand out to me and that I keep coming back to. And those are the dancers that I want to have a relationship with and that I want to party with as much as possible. The major takeaway that I would like for this episode is the fact that it's important to acknowledge what it is that we're attracted to and allowing ourselves to have it. That's really the key. Because it might be tempting to acknowledge that you're attracted, like I am, or like I was, that you're attracted to the fancy dancers right now and you really want that validation. But because of what I just said, you might say to yourself, well, I shouldn't want that because it's actually not where the substance of tango is. But that's not it. I'm just talking, this is my journey. And the way I got to this place is by going through many experiences of having the thing that I was attracted to. I had many experiences of it. And I needed that. I was hungry for it. I wanted more of it. Anytime I got attention from an advanced dancer, I gobbled it up. If an advanced dancer wanted to dance multiple tandas with me, I was game for it. I didn't care about the rules. I didn't care. I wanted it. And it was fun. It was fun for a long time. So for you, whatever you're attracted to now, however selfish or shallow or immature it might sound like to someone else, it's actually really important for you to allow yourself to have it and acknowledge that. Because if you don't, it's sort of like you're negating your own nature, your own unique preferences. And the more you do that, the less connection you'll have with exactly what it is that you want, and the less connection you'll have with actually getting what it is you want. It sort of works that way. So I love using this example because it's such a good illustration of this principle. I have a very good friend of mine. When she was going through the process of trying to date and getting together with lots of different guys, she was dating this one guy, and she was saying to me, oh my God, this guy is perfect. He's perfect on paper. He's a great creative type. He's a musician. There's all these amazing things about him, but I don't like his teeth. And teeth was a thing for her at that time. It probably still is. She just has this thing about teeth. She just can't do it, you know? And she was in this place of judging herself where she was saying to herself, like, oh man, you should be okay with this because it's just the teeth, right? Everything else is so great and you're getting older and maybe you won't find anyone else. And it's slim pickings out there for older women and blah, 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 all this stuff. But I remember telling her, I was like, listen, if that's a deal breaker for you, you have to honor it. You have to. It's not a deal breaker for me. Me, I don't care. My deal breakers are different. For her, teeth was a deal breaker, and I really encouraged her to honor that and be like, you know what? No, don't say yes to this. If this is a really big deal and you feel that really strong gut sense of, I don't know, mild repulsion, and it's physical, and you sort of, even the thought of it makes you cringe a little bit. If you have any of that, then just don't say yes to it. Similarly, if everything else is terrible and there's this one thing that you're really attracted to and it like overrides everything else, then say yes to that ultimately. Now, is it a mistake either way? Are you going to mess up and have an experience that proves you wrong or leads to something that is a bad ending or a failure of some kind? It's possible. In the end, it's kind of a gamble. But which route would you rather take? Would you rather go for something you know you like and later change because you learned some lessons and you realize that actually what you like is this other thing now? Or you go through life by judging your own preferences and instead choosing things based on that they're good enough, or that that's what you deserve, or that's what you should like. Both of those will lead down a particular path, but one of them is going to be a bit more fun. I kind of guarantee it. It's a little scary. It's definitely a little scary, but I think allowing yourself to really acknowledge the different levels of preference you have as a dancer, as a person, especially when it comes to other people, how you relate to other people, that you really do prefer some dancers over others. And you don't like talking to this person, but you really like talking to that person. And it's okay. And you don't have to work so hard to make sure that everybody likes you, that you fit into everybody's circle. It's okay that some people don't like you because there's some people that you don't like. Now, the dancers that I really want to encourage are the ones who might say, well, I know what I'm attracted to, but there's no way I'm getting it. And typically I hear that from older women who have gotten a lot of rejection in their dance for whatever reason, whether it's because they don't fit a certain physical mold that their community expects, or because they're not wearing the things that they're supposed to be wearing, quote unquote, or maybe they're not as attractive, maybe they are limited physically, maybe some other thing is involved there as a reason for them not getting what they want. And so I can imagine them looking at me and say, yeah, great, Elisabetta. Thanks for allowing me to get connected with the fact that I want to dance with the hot dancer in the room, but I just know for a fact that there's no way I'm going to get a dance with them. The reality is you don't know that. And sure, the statistics are the way they are. Sure, there is this thing called ageism in tango, and the odds are such. But I gotta tell you, the more I observe, the more I see that there are plenty of examples of dancers who don't fit the mold that we traditionally think is required to get this sort of experience with the higher end dancer. And they're doing just fine. They're getting the dancers. They're getting the dances. They're getting to dance with the professionals. They're getting to dance with the fancy dancers. And they're doing something. They're somehow getting it. Now, I think whatever they're doing, it has to start with them daring to believe that they're going to get it, that there's a way to get it, that they can get it, right? Maybe they get it by paying for it. Taxi dancing. Hey, you know what? This is a totally legitimate way that even I would consider now to get dances with some of these professional dancers. Why jump through the hoop of trying to capaceo and appeal to them and do the whole social game when you can just pay a few dollars and get yourself that experience and try it out? So wherever it is that you are in your dance journey, the awareness of what you're attracted to does bring you face to face with this question of, do you get to have what it is you're attracted to? And so that's where I'm going to leave you to ponder Because once you ask yourself that question, do I get to have what I'm attracted to? Either you're going to feel that you don't deserve to have what you're attracted to, or you're going to feel self-judgment about what it is that you're attracted to, and maybe you're overlooking certain qualities that you should be considering, that you might be less shallow by considering these other things. Now, I know for many of you, you're like me, and you're very honest about what it is you want, and you've gotten to a place in your dance where you're sort of not really concerned with what other people think of you. You know you can have what you want. You know that you have a lot to give as a dancer. You know that you contribute in a meaningful way to the dance. And if you're listening to this and you consider yourself one of those dancers, I would encourage you to look out for your fellow dancers struggling along the way and give them a little encouragement and a little friendly nudge to continue, persevere, and reach for what they really want. Because I do believe that we really can have everything we want as dancers. I've proved it to myself many times, and I've seen it in other examples. So I'm a big proponent of that reality. This is what I'm hoping for all of us. So let's leave it at that. I invite you to ponder and share with me some of your results of your pondering, some questions, some insights that you might have gotten from listening to this episode. You're always welcome to join my private Facebook group where we get to interact a little bit more often, and you get to join my live banters that I do almost on a weekly basis on Fridays. So check out the link in the show notes. And one more little reminder, check out the LA Summer Tango Marathon coming up Memorial Day weekend. Would love to see you there. Until next time,